Uniforms folded, flag hangs on the wall. Traded steel and thunder for silence in the hall. The mission's over, the deployment's done, they said, but the war inside my head, it hasn't left its stain. Got the handshake, the thank you, the ticket back home. Now I'm standing on the sidewalk, feeling utterly alone. This freedom is a cage that I can't seem to break. Every single morning it's a future I might forsake. Lost the rhythm, lost the drive, the structure disappeared. The invisible wounds are the ones that I truly feared. I'm walking on a wire, the pressure's coming down. Is there anyone listening in this lonely town? Full speed ahead after battle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here for another weekly episode, Full Speed Ahead After Battle, on the Military Broadcast Radio, where we give a voice to the veterans. As always, I am your host, Josh McCabe, and before we get started today, make sure you go do all those fun things, like, share, comment, all that good stuff here on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, all over the places, not to make me rich and famous, because I can't deal with that. You would not want me rich and famous. I'd be speaking my mind every day, not good. But do it simply to get these messages out there. Every week we have veterans, we have professionals, law enforcement come on, and we talk about that transition from military to the service civilian world, which is arguably one of the biggest factors when it comes to talking about veteran suicide. That transition is one of the hardest things that a veteran will ever have to face, even after battle. So that's why we talk about it on the show, along with the mental health and the suicide prevention, intervention, postvention, all the inventions that go around suicide. Because it's not just the veteran or the service member, the law enforcement member that may take their own life. It's the families, the friends, the circles of community that also have to deal with that afterwards. So that's why we want to get this show out there on NBR, either NBR or any other where. This story doesn't need to stop here. This story needs to be spread everywhere. We need to talk about it all over all platforms until it's not too late. Because we say the statistics every week, and now I have a hard time saying that word. But on average, and it's fluctuated over the years, on average, 22 veterans commit suicide every single day. Now, it's gone down a little bit, but when you start factoring in law enforcement, civilians, everything else, that number rises easily to about 30 people a day. That means within the 1 hour show of today's show, it's very likely that one person will commit suicide. And if this show gets out there and helps stop one person, then that is a mission accomplished. But we're going to keep moving on, and we're going to keep putting this message out there until nobody is committing suicide at all. Because whether it's 22, whether it's 30, whether it's one, it's all too many a day. So what's been going on over the last week? Christmas is over. So we're stuck in that middle of in between Christmas and New Year's where nobody knows what's going on. We're kind of just hanging out to see what 2026 brings us. Hopefully it's a lot better than 2025. Last year was a whirl spin, a head spin, a headache, whatever you want to call it. It went by way too fast. And here we are in 26, waiting to see what's going on, right? New Year's plans coming up, or let's go back to Christmas, spend it with the family. I know I spent mine with my family. We all had a great dinner and everything, had a good time. For those keeping in the loop, no, I did not go hang out with my dad for Christmas this year. He's kind of in that process of chemotherapy where he's not feeling very well. And so he's kind of spent the holidays alone just so he can deal with all of that, which I completely understand. He's still checking in with family. I still get calls. So he's hanging in there. He's got some updates coming up. Another scan coming here in the next couple of weeks to see how things are working out. Let's talk about New Year's coming up, right? That's this Thursday. The only thing I do is go over to my family's house, my in-laws, hang out, and watch some fireworks or whatever. But big thing is Friday, the Armed Forces Bowl game here at TCU. It's Rice versus Texas State. So we've got some tickets. We go to that. It's kind of an annual tradition for my family. Just to get out and go to a football game, get out into the crowd where it's very veteran friendly. It's hosted by Lockheed, which, being the Armed Forces Bowl, it just kind of makes sense. A lot of good veterans out there over the years. A lot of good organizations out there supporting veterans over the years. So we're happy to be going to that this weekend. What else is going on in the world? Unfortunately, another veteran. We lost to suicide. This one was Seaman Thatcher. He was stationed at Tinker Air Base. For y'all that know where that is, Tinker's kind of a big base. He's new in his service life. And I know a lot of veterans, we tend to argue, right? How long does it take until you constitute a veteran or serve? Signing up on the dotted line, going to boot camp, right? Or 90 days at your first duty station or a deployment somewhere. But guess what? This kid signed up. He's going through boot camp or whatever his story is. He's been trying, according to the story, for 6 months getting help at the mental health facility there on Tinker Air Base and kept getting denied and turned away and told to do something else, told to contact someone else. And so as the story goes, the last time he made quite a scene when he left because he got turned away, he was telling them that he was having suicidal thoughts. His mental health was poor, obviously, and we know where that leads to. That's a downhill fast scenario that ends not well for anyone. And so he left the base, found a bridge, and while he's sitting there on a bridge, another airman and a law enforcement officer stopped, tried to talk to them, and he ended up jumping and not surviving, right? Story doesn't end there. Tinker Air Base, the mental health facility, finally called and alerted the base, but didn't alert local law enforcement until an hour later after this gentleman made that scene. So imagine what could have happened if they would have just done their jobs and helped them out. I know everybody's busy. I know mental health is busy, especially during the holidays. I know the VA is busy. But this is exactly why we need other alternatives, whether it's nonprofit organizations, whether it's more mental health facilities in the civilian world or on base or something, because we need to quit turning away these veterans, right? We need to quit turning them away that they go do this because, like I just said, it's not just him. Yes, it's very sad that he was a brand new sailor to the military, the new generation of military, right? And he couldn't even make it to his first duty station because of some mental illness when he asked for help. And they turned him away over the holidays. The holidays is one of the most stressful time for veterans, right? For active duty, they're away from their families, maybe for the first time. They don't understand how it's supposed to go, what they're supposed to do. Or maybe it's the veterans that came home and they're used to being gone from family and friends for the holidays. And now that they're back, everything is different. So it's stressful on them that way. But the message is we need to find more ways to help these veterans out. And not just veterans, law enforcement, anybody dealing with mental health when it comes to suicide things. And like I said, it's not just the suicide prevention. That's what you do to help them before they make that decision, before they take their life, right? Then we talk about intervention, okay? So you found a veteran that did not, or he maybe attempted to commit suicide and he didn't make it. And now you need to talk to him and give him the help there. Or maybe he did take his life and now you're there to help the family deal with that loss. And then postvention is everything that happens after that, right? So you got prevention, intervention, postvention. Those are the three topics that we need to talk about when it comes to veteran suicide. So that's the statistic for this week. That's the one that's in the news. There are so many other suicides going on in this world, in this country, that are not in the news. This one just happened to be because he made it. He made a scene on base there, and that's how it made the news, I believe, from what I read in the story. We'll see how this whole rest of this story folds out. But let's get on. Last week we had the filmmakers, directors from American Sons documentary. That was a great Q&A, by the way. Thank you for everybody that tuned in and submitted their questions. This week we have a veteran himself. He goes by Stevo to most people. He is a retired, or he was a sergeant first class in the Army. We'll get more into what he did. But now he's an author, a three-time author, award-winning author, and we're going to talk about those books. And we're going to talk about his problems with that transition, right? Like we said, a lot of veterans struggled, and he struggled more than most veterans, I do believe. So we're going to get into that story. And to introduce him, I've got one of his videos, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that up now for you.
You get out of the military and no one tells you how to write a resume. You are handed a DD Form 214, your certificate of service, and suddenly you're on your own. I am William A. Stevens, Jr., a retired United States Army Field Artillery Sergeant First Class, and I know exactly what it feels like. I am also a three-time award-winning author and an Eric Hoffer Book Award winner in 2025 for The Broken Mirror. In this book, I tell it raw, unfiltered, the truth about survival, the trauma, the bonds, and the breaks along the way, especially the bond with my own daughter. If you are leaving the uniform life, feeling lost and disconnected, unsure of who you are, here's how it is. You are not failing. It takes time. You are not alone. The Broken Mirror is more than my story. It is a guide, a hand to hold, a way to face the silence, step back into purpose, and find your voice again. And don't be left in the silence. But I'll tell you, the grass is not greener on the other side.
All right. Stevo, welcome to the show. How are we doing?
Hey, Josh. What's going on, man? I am Stevo.
Oh.
21 Productions, Voice of the Voiceless, and I would like to thank the Military Broadcast Radio Network for having me on the show, man.
Absolutely. I'm happy you're here. You're in the podcasting business as well. You do your shows. You're a veteran. You're an author. You're doing it all, it seems like. So welcome. I'm glad to have the experience.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I have the Crawl, Walk, Run podcast, and also I'm now a 5-time award-winning author, and I'm no longer an author. I'm an author advocate.
There you go. So before we get jumping into the story, why don't you tell us a little bit about Stevo the veteran? When did you join? How long were you in? What'd you do? And then kind of go from there.
Born and raised in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. Joined the Army in 1988. Field Artillery, Cohort Unit. Went to Germany with all my boys. Some of them went to Turkey. I went to Nuremberg. Ended up the day after Christmas in 90, sitting on the dock in Saudi Arabia as a private, unloading equipment because we had already been preloading our equipment prior. So from December 26, 90, all the way to May 91, I was in Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and provided comfort. That made me truly think I'm an American hero, so I re-enlisted. Went to Fort Carson for 4 years. After that, went to Korea. Went back to Carson for 4 years. Went to Korea again. Went to Fort Lewis. Went to Fort Riley. did multiple combat deployments, and I'm not just talking about Kuwait either. So
Right.
I've been all over the world. So and yeah, I think the battle started, man, after my last 4 years when I was in New Cumberland, being in the psych unit at the Wounded Warrior Transition Unit. And people don't know what that is. That's at Walter Reed. I don't even know if they
Right.
even have it anymore or not. WTU.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, I
Okay.
think so.
Yeah, I haven't followed up on it, but yeah, that was an eye opener for me, man. Because like
Mhm.
going from hard charging down to like nothing, giving up your military career, giving up like your promotion status, your whole rank, your whole everything. Like you're a patient, So, yeah. So when I was at Walter Reed, man, I was with 12 people, and
Mhm.
I guess they had different groups, but I was with a group of 12 people, and you know, um, it was weird because when we ended that whole thing, nobody wanted to like keep in contact because of the stuff that we've been through, the privacy and all that. So uh, even if I don't even remember who they were, basically because I was so drugged up on different pills, like when I left Walter Reed, I think I was on 10 bottles of pills, 48 pills a day.
Ooh.
And then, not to prolong this or anything, but, was it 2005, we lost our first child to a miscarriage. And then we had Isabel in 2007. And I still wasn't allowed to go home and see my daughter and my wife because they thought that I was going to go unalive them. Kind of like bringing the battlefield back to the living room,
Right.
My last tour, I don't think I don't think anyone can even make up the story that I'm about to tell you, but my last tour, I didn't have a weapon. So I kind of collected data for the Center of Army Lessons Learned from Fort no, where is it? Fort, somewhere in Kansas. I forget where it is in Kansas. Center of Army Lessons Learned headquarters. It'll come to me, but we collected data. We wrote a handbook. We were out on patrols. We were with units. The units that we trained at Fort Dix. So we trained killers. And I'm glad that we fell in on those units because some of these units, they didn't know what they were doing, especially when we were in Fallujah. Luckily, we didn't get attacked or anything, but yeah, I put my life in the hands of the people that we trained, like the Puerto Rican National Guard. So it was kind of cool. We wrote the book and got credit for being one of the contributing authors. So, but yeah, that was like the highlight of my military career. So, but got home, and that's where the battle started because my ex-wife was my wife. At the time, she was a psych nurse. So I was treated like a patient the whole time. And when my daughter was born, I was forgotten. So I usually don't disclose this, but I was in a non-intimate marriage for 10 years and wanted to commit suicide in 2014. So, but my mom died and my dad wanted me to go take care of him. So I went and took care of him and gave me another chance to live, So,
Yeah.
but there's been this huge broken bond between me and my kid forever. So when you're all drugged up, man, and you call your wife and your daughter the B word, you know, it's crazy, dude. So that's it.
Yeah.
20 years in the Army, 16 years civilian government, 5-time award-winning author. That's me, man.
Man, so you've been around everywhere military-wise. You did all kinds of stuff. So let's talk about that transition then. With so much experience, how did that help you out with your transition coming back to the civilian world and then and on? You talk about you got into pills and stuff. I mean, it must not have been that good of a transition for you.
Well, I think what saved my life was being at Walter Reed because
Yeah.
it was hard to get into the Wounded Warrior transition. You just don't go and say, "Hey, I'm losing it." They have to do evaluations on you and stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
I got admitted in that, and they told me like, you're giving up your career, you're not going to be able to see your fiance for like a year. And I'm like, what? Okay, whatever. So, but everything was monitored. But I went to a couple job fairs there.
Mm-hmm.
They bring like the government organizations in for the people that are wounded. But I think what saved me was when I was in my last unit, I had a TSSCI, had a very high security clearance. So part of my job was I did all the security clearances for all the guys in the unit. Like we have no females in our unit, but my job before I left was to get everybody a top secret. So I did that, and my colonel gave me, was it Major General Omri Red Newman Leadership Award, Forrest Com Award. So that was kind of cool. And when I was at Walter Reed, I heard that Defense Security Services was looking for a wounded warrior. And I didn't know what a wounded warrior was. And I reached out to them. I didn't much have a resume. I just wrote a bunch of stuff that I did in my last unit. Like I took this stuff off my NCER and my evaluation report. And they were like, we want you to come down, man. We want you to be part of Defense Security Services, which is now Defense Counterintelligence Agency. And I would say, being at Walter Reed and in a psych unit, they didn't even care I was in a psych unit. They knew that I had knowledge, and they trained me to be a security specialist. So that was a great thing, and I thought that, man, I was going to get out and nail that. But man, I got out of Walter Reed. I retired. I went home. I sat around. I think I slept more than I was awake. Like my daughter was just that, trying to write a resume. Like I did do some resume writing courses, but they took like a 2-week course and crammed it into 2 days. Like I think days was watching some goofball talk about how to wear a tie and present.
Right.
But they never told us about, taking the military lingo and changing it over to civilian lingo, which I'll a bit later. But I got out. I worked for a cola company as a merchandiser. Man, from being a senior and going down to being a merchandiser and having to be at you in like stores, and my boss was 27, I was 43. I was diagnosed. Right off the bat. I was diagnosed with diabetes at 43, and I was in the best shape of my life. I was in super shape, but it slowly dissipated because like the pills. Like I said, I was on 10 different bottles of pills. Lithium was the killer. Lithium made my dental implants fall out. Lithium made me suicidal. I was on 48 pills a day. Like, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I was a zombie. Total zombie. But then I started working at the prison. Like I went to the Correctional Academy in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, and then I started bringing the prison stuff home to my wife and my daughter. And that wasn't good. But made it. I got a magic phone. Okay. We have this thing that looks like a resume that you did at Walter Reed, but we would need to come work on the Navy side of the house. So I was like, doing what? And they were like, we want you to be a security specialist. And I was like, security guard? They're like, no, you're going to do all the behind the paperwork and stuff for the government, to get people vetted into the unit and into the command. And I was like, ooh, wow. So got there in 2009, left in 2016. It was all right, but home life was terrible, man. No intimacy in years. My mom died. I lived with my dad for 4 years. And then, I didn't know anything about veteran podcasts. I didn't know anything about veteran help. Like, I didn't care about veteran help. I didn't do anything for anybody. But then when I started, like, developing my manuscript for my first book, The Mirror, which has been granted to the second edition and now the Black edition, I'll definitely tell you that that whole transition has been so different. Like, and I've been with the same psychiatrist since 2008, which is really, but I will tell you that a lot of veterans are thrown around in the system because, like, sure, like you're with a primary healthcare manager, you don't even know who they are. One day it's a woman, the next day it's a man. And I've even talked to my psychiatrist, and he said, I'm the only one that he's been with almost 20 years. Some of the, and he actually inspired me to write my second book, Broken Mirror, to talk about my daughter and the broken home. But it's been a journey, man. And, you know, I believe networking and education is the key. And there's a lot I want to say there's a lot of veterans that blame the system. Well, do your homework, okay? Because, I mean, like, the system is there. There are failed pieces in the system, but when you network with people like you, the people from Military Broadcast, who all have the knowledge, and all the other different veteran platforms out there, there's so much knowledge out there that you can get, like, not even Googling or anything like that. Like, talk to a real freaking veteran, you know?
Absolutely. So, you know, you talked about going back just a second, like when you got out, you didn't look for that veteran help. You know, you didn't look for those organizations. I think that's what the downfall of a lot of veterans is they think, well, I spent this whole time in, and I'm good, and nothing's going to change. I don't need that help. And then they get out, and then that's where they start struggling, right? They think that they can do all this on their own, but what they need to realize before they even get out is they need to start building that network back home, whether it's with their friends or their family. Because even if you think, man, I've talked to my family on the phone every day for years, I haven't seen them in a while, but I know them, it's still not the same family, right? People have changed, and going home, I experienced that. Coming back home to my friends and family, completely different. And that's where I struggle with it. And so, you know, that's what I try to put out is you need to start looking at those, whether it's a veteran organization, the VA, the mental health, don't be afraid to get out and ask for that right away, because you need that transition. A lot of people struggle like you did, or like you were mentioning when talking about psychologists, therapists, whatever. They go, well, this one didn't help. The VA sent me this one, and I got to go this one. But you need to find one that you can build that relationship with, right? You can't just be transferring every other week or so. Because like when you build that long-term relationship with someone and they have the full story, that's when you really start getting that help. And that's where you started, you know, writing your books and started turning the page and everything, because you found somebody to build that relationship with. And that's hard for veterans to do, because when the VA, I know the first couple I talked to at the VA, they spent most of their, 20 years becoming that doctor. They know nothing about anything else other than the schooling that they went through. How can they understand my story, right? How can they understand what I've been through, in whether it's battle or war or whatever maybe you went through? You got to find those people that maybe have been there, you know, or know what they're talking about, and build that relationship with them. And that's when you're going to start to grow. But look, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to watch a quick music video like we always do on our break. But when we come back, let's talk about more about the relationships that you had, the struggles with your daughter, how you overcame that in writing these books. Because I know you have 3 pillars on your books that you wrote. There's 3 of them. And one of those is about mending those relationships. So we'll talk about those when we come right back after these messages.
Thought we were through with this. Then I watched the evening news. There were folks that still wouldn't stand for the old red, white, and blue. At first it made me fight and mad, how they think that that's okay. Then I thought they just don't understand, and given a chance, I'd say. Have you ever been there when taps was played or for a 21 gun salute? Had to hear the words you never want to hear. Have you ever had to face that truth? When a son or daughter didn't come back home to a family so devoted, then you might not disrespect our flag. If you'd ever been handed one folded. Have you seen a heartbroken mother or a father fall to his knees? Been there when a family got the news that your freedom wasn't free? Have you seen a flag draped coffin? If you did, how'd it make you feel to know a soldier died to give you the right to stand or kneel? Most of us are immigrants, proud to call America home. And I'll stand for the red, white, and blue, even if I gotta stand alone. 'Cause I've been there when taps was played for a 21 gun salute. I had to hear the words I didn't want to hear. Yeah, I had to face that truth. When a son and daughter didn't come back home to a family so devoted, you never disrespect our flag. If you'd ever been handed one folded, you never disrespect our flag. If you'd ever been handed one folded. One folded.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Full Speed Ahead After Battle. That was Wade Jennings with One Folded. If you don't know who Wade Jennings is, you need to get your head out of under a rock, right? Hey, that's the offspring of the old Waylon Jennings. I mean, come on, dude's a legend. So, anyways, this week's episode, Stevo, 1821 Productions, author, veteran, author advocate, veteran advocate, doing it all. So, when we left, we were talking about that transition and how things kind of spiraled for you there a little bit, and let's get into now the relationship aspect of it and how when veterans struggle, that affects the family, the friends, and in particular, you mentioned in your book, in one of your pillars, your daughter. Like you, I've got a daughter myself. She was born in 2005, so a couple of years older than your daughter. And family knows, but it was a struggle over the years serving. I was active duty for 8 years while she was growing up. Her mom and I split when she was under 4, and so hard seeing her grow up. When I got out, we started mending that relationship and getting to know each other more, and even that's a struggle, like we say. It's hard coming back from deploying or service and rebuilding those relationships. And now, I'm excited because she's having a baby in May, my first grandchild, which at 42, I'm like, I'm not supposed to be a grandpa yet. So I hope, Stevo, you've got some time before that happens to you. But, let's talk about that. The relationships that you mentioned weren't going so well for you.
So basically, from what I learned from my ex-wife's friends, she only wanted a kid from me. That was it. And she knew that she was going to get the military benefits for the child. So we were in love, but I don't know what happened. I really don't. I know that I wasn't the same person when I came back from Walter Reed, and she told
Yeah.
me because one thing that was irritating. I was only 50% when I got out. My ex-wife told me I should have been 100%. Like,
Yeah.
so I was abducted, not abducted. I was abused as I was abused
Yeah.
as, and my dad beat me. My dad was an alcoholic, and I vowed that I would not take that to my daughter. But I did
Yeah.
I mentally abused my child, and sometimes never talked to my daughter like she was like a soldier or anything, but it was more cussing and degrading. And my daughter was a pageant girl, and I got to do stuff with her there. And she knew that I was fighting behind the scenes with her mom. And she's like, well, if you're going to call mom a B, I don't want nothing to do with you. you know um, Eventually, when your daughter tells you, look, I don't want nothing to do with you because like you're a deadbeat. And I'm like, okay, now she's cheering, and that's $8,000 a year, and who's paying for that? You know, Not her mom. So then my daughter became a world cheerleader. Like, she went to Florida by herself at 13 years old. She was like, the hell with this. I'm not staying with mom and dad. Like, I was already gone. Like, when my dad died in 2017, I had already like left my wife. And all I'm saying is, I didn't believe in my daughter. I had no faith in my daughter. I tried to attempt to help her play soccer. She got hit in the face, gave up that sport. Became a pageant girl, won a couple times, gave up that. Then she was a competitive cheerleader. She didn't like that, so she wanted to be a world cheerleader because she grew out of her gym. And I'm like, we're spending $13,000, $14,000, $15,000 a year on this kid, and what's going on? So at 13, she won her first world title, and
Wow.
it made me look like an idiot. And then at 16, she won her second world title, and now she's a freaking coach for the team.
Okay.
So, and my daughter endorsed my last book. That's how good the bond is now.
Good.
She officially did the endorsement of my last book called No Filter, From Skateboard Kid to Entrepreneur. And hurt me the most was when I read that the most she got out of me being her dad was teaching her how to drive, and then giving up my whole veteran journey to go to Florida and stay with them. I stayed at a campground, but her mom lost her job, and there was no money coming in, so I just gave up everything. So I stayed Claremont and different campgrounds, and I'll tell you, the campgrounds is where the pain is. There's a lot of veterans that are out on the road that are silent, and people in Canada and stuff like that. But The Broken Bond is this book right here. The Broken Mirror. It is military transition, self-help, and self-development, and the broken bond between me and my kid. And it won 3 National Book Awards, and it was nominated for the Eric Hopper Book Award. And I don't have my first book because it's under construction. Something I want to change the back cover. So right now I'm working with Ingram, and I've done everything that I can to my cover, and now they're going to like put it together. This is my final book called No Filter. It's got a bunch of swear words in it. That's why it's got the parent advisory symbol in it, But this is true, honest gut, the abuse, the marriage, message to authors, leadership. I talk a lot about leadership, technical knowledge of leadership, opening Pandora's box, being taken down the rabbit hole. What does a father do? What does a father do? Like how to mend and stuff like that. So, and it's getting around. And all 3 books, The Mirror, The Broken Mirror, and No Filter, are all on audiobook. And I'll tell you what, the narrator that I chose, he is an amazing narrator, veteran himself. And what you're seeing here is the website where you can go and read about each book. So it's Stevo. So it's Stevo 1821 productions.com, and this will pop up and you'll see the books. Probably in the next week, The Mirror will be available on Barnes and Noble. And I just got put on. I just found out that book 2 and book 3 of the Reflection series. So what you're looking at is a Reflection series website. All the books have something to do with the mirrors. So both of my books hit Walmart.com, and that's hard to do. So.
Yeah, no kidding. So is it safe to say then, like many veterans, when you started getting into writing, this was kind of like a therapy session for you? And, you know, a lot of people, when they start either writing books or writing songs and putting these stories into words and you're seeing it on paper, that's, for many, that's when it finally clicks that, okay, I've been through that. Now I need to get the help, or now I need to do something about it. Is that kind of what happened to you, or how did you come into writing these books?
First book, no. First book is like therapeutic poetry. Like deployed all over the world, like on guard duty, stupid stuff I was doing. I would write on to the paper. Like if I was by myself, I would always write little notes, or like be out in the desert and be like, well, what happens if it's the end of the world? You know, what happens if a nuclear attack? So I write that kind of stuff. You know? Like I've written about Star Wars, how Kylo Ren had like mental health issues. Yeah, I wrote all kinds of cool stuff. A lot of the Mirror is all relation based, like girlfriends, failed things, like I've been at the top in the military, and a lot of military leaders are going to come on and say that they were relieved several times. They got back up on a pedestal, you know, because like I won't lie. I mean, when I was at Fort Lewis, I got relieved. I took a swing at my platoon sergeant. I didn't like him calling me the MF all the time, you know. So military museum, and I think that's what changed my whole career, because like here I am, a staff sergeant in a museum working with a bunch of broke people, but the best broke people in the world, like, you know, broken arms, broken legs, you know, something going on, heart condition, best people I ever worked with in my life, you know. And turn around, I made the sergeant first class list while I was in the museum. So I think God was with me on that whole journey. Yeah. So, but and when I was in combat, I got relieved. I got relieved because my first sergeant didn't like me, and they were already grooming another guy who had just made E7. And I took a swing. I won't lie. I took a swing at a black soldier. Yeah. So I learned close quarters. Well, Marine Corps, what is it called? Or what's it called? Combatives.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So is it called close quarters combat now?
Yeah, CQB, close quarter combat.
In Korea, I worked with some ROK Army soldiers, and we did combatives. So combatives is driven to where close quarters is now.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what it is? Combatives. The manual combatives is what they teach out of close quarters combat. So
yeah,
I took a Larinac shot to the kid and ended up being in front of my sergeant major, and he's like, you're going to be a recruiter, like a retention guy in combat. I'm like, nobody likes me. How am I supposed to re-enlist soldiers? And they were like, he's like, you don't have to like people, they're numbers. And I found out that soldiers aren't numbers. They have families. So created a devious, I created a devious plan, and it was very successful. So re-enlisted 159% of soldiers in the combat area within a year, which was kind of cool, because they all came back the next year, because it was just like, went home, rest, and they went back. And I was like, I'm not going back. I'm not going back there. That was, but yeah. So it's been a journey. So
sounds like it. So after writing all these and coming to conclusions, what is it that you think veterans need to know coming out now so that they're not struggling as much? What do they need to be focusing on?
The video that you showed is the video
Yeah.
I'm sending to the Army publications, because I truly, this book is $15 right now. If the Army would buy this book for $1, okay, or 50 cents, and I sold 10,000 copies, and they had given them out starting in the Army and hopefully military. If every soldier left the military with the DD Form 214, this book right here, talking about resume writing, going from military to civilian lingo, coping mechanisms that I use instead of doing pills, death and dying, suicide, relationship bond between a father and a daughter or a child. I believe that every soldier left the military with this book or some type of transition book.
Yeah.
I believe that we could lower the stigma of 22. Not saying it's going to happen, but I guarantee you this book that I hold in my hand saves lives, because I give these books away for free out of my own money, and I have given them two suicidal people, and they told me, without me sitting down and talking to them and telling them my story and telling them about this book right here, saved their lives. So if one of my books or my story can help one soldier transitioning out, because like I have spoken to some transitioning soldiers, and you get nothing. Like now everything's online. It's all like online courses and stuff like that. Like they don't. I told Sergeant Major of the Army, 13th Sergeant Major of the Army, I had on my podcast, Kenneth Preston. I said, what they need to do in the NCO and Officer Corps is they need to teach these ladies and gentlemen, these officers and enlisted NCOs, how to teach resumes, because when their soldiers get out, they're going to get out and they don't know how to write a resume. And they're going to look back at their leadership and they're going to go, my leadership failed me. My leadership failed me. And my guy that was under me, Ramos, he didn't know how to write a resume. So he came back to Smoke and he's like, Smoke, help me with my transition. This guy's a Purple Heart, 3 Bronze Stars, and he ended up working at a gas station.
Yeah.
Gas station. So
I think that TAP class, that transition class, still fails so many veterans because it's a 2-day course. And really all they tell you is, yes, make sure you dress nice, which it is changed over the years because it depends on the company, where you're going. The dress just all depends. Update your resume, but they don't tell you how to update it from, like you said, CQB kicking down doors in Afghanistan to leading a team of professionals at an auto finance company, right? If that's what you want to get out and do.
I sat down with some HR people from the government civilian side, and we discussed this stuff for my second book. And so if you're a platoon sergeant or a first sergeant or a commander, you're not that when you get out. You are supervisor, mentor, advisor. If you're a colonel or higher, maybe CEO of an organization. Leadership, what they want. They don't want to know you went to combat. They don't care if you have awards. I tell people, don't put your awards unless you have like maybe a Bronze Star, a Purple Heart. You know, I don't too many Medal of Honor people, but they're out there.
Because most of those people don't know what any of that is. And that's the same as don't put 11 Bravo or STG or whatever your MOS or your rate was, because they don't understand that. And when you send those resumes in anymore electronically, right, these companies are sending it through a computer system that's looking for those keywords, like you said, leadership, mentor, teamwork, responsibility, things like that. So that's the thing that TAP class does not teach, is what are those keywords, how to translate those words, what should I be looking for? Because all they say is,
US.gov, usjobs.gov. Like one of my buddies who is an HR guy who actually wrote the preface to my book, John, he told me that when you do those jobs, man, you got to look at the job description and and tailor your resume to that job description, because, like, I'll say an example. If I'm a GS-11, a government GS-11, that's what I was the whole time I was in the government service. I never got promoted because of my PTSD. I wanted to be an anti-terrorism officer. I had anti-terrorism background, but I was putting the wrong stuff on my resume. Like, I kept saying I wanted to be a security specialist, but the job was for anti-terrorism. You know, who cares if I'm qualified for it? I'm not writing what they want to see. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
yeah, if anybody's willing, you know, I'm willing to reach out and help people. Like, as an author advocate, I don't charge people. I try to help authors or people get established. So there's so much marketing corruption out there. And also, you know, there's just a lot of veterans out there. There's a lot of veterans out there that are not even getting help from the VA. So, and I truly believe the VA, if some of these people is a 9-to-5 job, they don't care about veterans at all. So I really don't.
Completely agree. So, as a author advocate to those veterans that are maybe thinking about getting into writing books, some people are like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to write about. What would be your suggestion on getting them started? If that's an avenue that they want to take on. No filter. There you go.
So in No Filter, I wrote here real quick. Message to all struggling authors: prepare yourself. So there's like certain steps that you take, you know why you're writing. Write to one person. Be willing to bleed. Understand the cost. Prepare in silence. Build your discipline. Invest in learning. Decide on how you're going to publish. Most publishers will scam you. Yeah. Protect your voice. Visualize the finish line. And don't write for awards. Write to help people. And I've always noticed that most people that write, authors are the unheard voices of the voiceless. And a lot of authors are in trauma, going through I believe everyone goes through some type of trauma. It doesn't matter if it's combat related. Like a new thing I've seen on TikTok, it's like, okay, I got PTSD, but I got PTSD from being in the military. No, I got PTSD from being deployed to Kuwait. I got PTSD from being in the combat zone. Oh, I got PTSD from being in actual engagement in combat. So there's different types, okay?
Yeah.
Hell, you got the political PTSD now. Like your candidate, we were going to talk about this, but your candidate does, and you just have a meltdown. Have you seen some of these people that have absolute meltdowns on the internet? I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Yeah. It's a mental health condition. It is a disability. Yeah. It's a type of disability, you know. But the other thing I was going to say is if you're going to write, the mirror and the broken mirror are approved by the Pentagon, have been approved by the Pentagon Review Board because of my high security clearance I had and the stuff that I put in there about long-term medication use from the VA. I was amazed that they let me put that in there. But pills that you're taking today, you have to read and research on the pills that you're taking, because some veterans are taking sugar pills and they don't even know it. Yeah. You know, some veterans are taking pills like me. I got my 100% because I proved to the VA that I got tremors from lithium and other types of medication. And some of these pills will cause long-term effect like kidney problems, dementia, you know. It might help you now, but if you've been taking them for a long time, like 5, 6, 7 years, and you start having kidney function issues, don't be afraid to go back to the VA and say, look, you know. But yeah, I was seeing something the other day. I don't know if it would be approved or not, but someone said they should just abolish the VA in general. Like all the people, they should have their connection, and everybody be able to go to outside sources, because the VA is just a waste. It's a complete waste.
Yeah, Uh, I agree to you with a point, up to a point. I think some VAs work better than others. Some need a lot of help, but yeah.
Yep.
So look, we're coming up to the end of the hour. I know we got started a couple minutes late, but we got a few minutes left. So I run everybody, Stevo, through the 2 minute drill here at the end. 2 minutes to speak your heart, speak your mind, put it out into the world. What you're feeling, what we need to say that's going to get people the help that they need.
First of all, I forgot to say it when I came on. Thank you for your service and your sacrifice. Thank you for anyone that's watching as a veteran or that is a spouse or a child, because part of the 22 is children and their family members watch this veteran, not because the veteran commits suicide. There's so much stress going on that the child or the spouse could commit suicide because the veteran is not aware of what he's doing to the family. So that's why we have podcasts. That's why we have outreach groups and networking to help people. But in general, mental health is a life sentence without parole. I worked in a prison. I've seen murderers and killers get parole and walk. And PTSD, mental health, whatever type of whatever you identify that the disease or illness or what you got, the demons ain't going away. It doesn't matter. You can get hypnotized. A scent, a trigger, a sound, something will bring it back. Trust me.
Yeah.
And in closing, I would say, I'm not saying go get my books, but if you like audiobooks, the audiobooks are definitely will resonate. And if anybody out there can help me get my second book, The Broken Mirror, in the Army publication system, I'm willing to work a contract with them. So, but yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. I truly believe everybody has trauma. I would say I go by Story Time with Stevo, like Story Time, TYME with Stevo on TikTok. And I'm doing lives over there, mental health lives. I don't have a lot of viewers right now. I only have 600 followers over there, but I've only had it for a month. A lot of people told me that I should be over there. And I don't even market my stuff no more. Now I give my books away to the authors on TikTok and they promote my stuff. So, but, and it's not about royalties. It's about the message, message. If it reaches one person, I did my job, man. So I am 1821 Productions. I'm branded. This is my logo. I don't sell this stuff. I buy all this stuff out of my own money. I'm working on a collection box right now that's coming in a couple days. So all 3 books will go in the collection box with my commemorative coin for the shield, 1821, a bookmarker, a lapel pin, and a sticker pack. If anybody wants that, I have those. I'll be selling out of my home. But I'm on Crawl, Walk, Run podcast on YouTube, 1821 Productions, or on Spotify, 1821 Productions. I go by the voice of the Voiceless. I'm Stevo. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Well, I'll see you around.
Yeah, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's another episode of Full Speed Ahead After Battle with Stevo. That guy's been around. He's seen a thing or two in the Army. He did 20 years. He heard him. He got out. He did some more. He's putting in a lot of work into his books. And what is the message is you got to ask for the help. Everybody goes through the trauma. Everybody goes through something. Everybody needs the help. Ask for it before you get out. Start planning before you get out. And if you think you need the help, don't be afraid to ask for it. It's all about that support system. It's all about networking, right? It's the people around you that are going to keep you going. Just like when you were in battle, just like when you served, you didn't do it alone. You had your brothers and sisters to the left and right of you. They had your 6th then. They got your 6th now. Reach out and ask for that help. You heard him. Go find his book, Stevo. That's STEVO, 1821productions.com. It's in the comments down below. Make sure you go check out those books. Really good reads. Like I said, there's a 3-pillar. It's a series of 3. So make sure you get them all. Read them all the way through. I guarantee it's going to help you out. So that's a wrap for today's episode. We're cutting through the noise to bring you the raw truth of life after the uniform. This is Full Speed Ahead After Battle on Military Broadcast Radio. If you got a story that needs to be told, the good, the bad, or the ugly, or if you're an organization dedicated to backing our veterans, don't stay on the sidelines. Email me today at fsa@mbradio.us to book your spot and join the conversation. Stay loud, stay proud, and keep pushing forward because the war is over, but the fight for the future just started. Dismissed.
Life is like a duck. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. Here at Military Broadcast Radio, we're teaming up with our friends at Die Tired, the veteran-friendly music band spreading strength, resilience, and mental health awareness one shirt at a time.
And check this out. Their brand new shirts feature broadcast beaker right on the breast pocket. A reminder that you can weather the storm, and you're never alone.
Shirts are only $25, and proceeds support giving veterans a voice. MBR's mission to teach veterans how to podcast and videocast. Because when our vets are talking, they're not overthinking. They're not second-guessing. Together, we stop the 22 stigma. Grab your shirt today at mbradio.us and hit the shop. Or go directly to toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband. That's toramerch.printavo.com/merch/dietiredband.
Suit up, stand strong.
Remember, we're unduckable together.
You're built tougher than the storm.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.